His Excellency Mr. Lawrence Gonzi, Prime Minister of Malta. Your Excellency Mr. Lawrence Gonzi, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam President, distinguished colleagues. We have come to the beautiful city of Copenhagen to address the challenge posed by climate change, a challenge among the most urgent and important to have ever faced humanity. It is now up to us leaders to embrace the extensive work done over the past 2 years. We must rise to the occasion and manifest our clear intention to take on this challenge in a serious manner. Malta, together with its European Union partners, has put forward significant, quantifiable commitments. I now call upon you, our negotiating partners, at this crucial point in time, to engage more forcefully to reach a meaningful outcome. Colleagues, our mandate for achieving a comprehensive, effective, and fair climate change regime has never been stronger. In 1988, Malta launched an initiative for a United Nations resolution on the conservation of climate as part of the common heritage of mankind. Malta is proud that despite its size and limitations, this initiative resulted in the adoption of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. In the words of UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon, spoken during the high-level event on climate change in September of 2007, he said, and I quote, "The subject proposed by the island nation of Malta remains as evocative today as it did then. Much has happened since those early days, but the fundamental challenge remains unchanged and has become even more pressing. Climate change and what we do about it will define us, our era, and ultimately the global legacy we leave for future generations." Today, Malta remains as committed as ever to this cause. Malta has proposed an amendment to Annex 1 to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change with a view to adding the name of Malta. Our objective to put Malta on the same legal footing as the other member states of the European Union that are included in Annex 1 to the Convention. And this is aimed exclusively at ensuring credibility and transparency in our actions. Malta has adopted a national strategy for policy and abatement measures relating to the reduction of greenhouse gases, containing mitigation measures aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions and including the implementation of renewable energy sources, electricity efficiency, and conservation. Over the past years, Malta has started exploring economically viable options to maximize its use of renewable energy sources. We have implemented numerous domestic and industrial schemes aimed at incentivizing the use of renewable energy as well as the promotion of energy efficiency. As a small island state situated in the Mediterranean basin, Malta faces the prospect of severe impacts as a result of the adverse effects of climate change. We are likely to have to cope with grave problems, including, in particular, water scarcity arising from diminished rainfall, but also other effects such as extreme weather conditions and rising seawater levels. We are currently formulating an adaptation strategy focusing on areas expected to be affected by climate change, including water and flooding, health and socio-economic policy, biodiversity, and agriculture. We therefore share the concern of other vulnerable small island states, and we stress the importance of achieving an ambitious agreement within the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Madam President, climate change is a global strategic issue affecting our physical, geographical, and economic security. Its effects are felt most by the poorer and more vulnerable people and nations who are least able to cope. Climate change is a threat multiplier which exacerbates existing trends and tensions. It threatens to overburden fragile states and regions, fueling instability and increasing the potential for irregular migration and migration. Malta therefore recognizes the need to provide the least developed countries, in particular vulnerable African countries, with adequate and effective capacity building and financing. We are here to take an important step towards tackling this global issue, and we must all contribute in a fair and equitable manner to this concerted effort. Developed countries should undertake to adopt emission reductions consistent with the recommendations of science and to provide financial and technological support for action by developing countries to curb the growth in their emissions in the decades beyond. Increased and predictable funding in the short and long term for adaptation to climate change should also form an integral part of this global climate change agreement. Developing countries, for their part, should embrace the opportunity to integrate resource efficiency in the pursuit of prosperity and sustainable development. So in conclusion, Madam President, the battle against climate change is one of common concern for all mankind, and success may only be achieved through common action. We must reach an agreement which expresses our serious commitment to avoiding dangerous climate change and reflects our responsibilities towards the most vulnerable and to future generations. Colleagues, the time to act is now, and on behalf of my country, I can state that Malta is prepared and committed to do so. Thank you very much.